excited to be hosting ASIFA's Hollywood. Oh, let me try that again. Hang on. Rewind. Okay, here we go. Good afternoon, San Diego Comic-Con. My name is Stephen Kramer Glickman, and I am very excited to be hosting a panel that is near and dear to my heart. Welcome to ASIFA-Hollywood's Voiceover Superstars. And have we got superstars for you? They're going to absolutely blow you away. We got some wonderful people. Just some quick introductions. Say a hi and hello, if you don't mind, to our folks. Margaret Carey is here.
Hello there. I'm ready to talk, voiceover or not.
Love it. Jack Plotnick is here.
Hi, hello. Jack Plotnick here. Thanks, Stephen.
Of course, E.G. Daly is here.
Hi guys, I'm E.G., the voice of Tommy Pickles.
Jessica DiCicco is here, one of my dear friends.
Hey. Hi, Jessica here.
And of course, Eric Bauza is here.
In some way, shape, or form, yes.
I love it. Great. I'm so excited to see all of you. And this is going to be a real treat because we've got just, you know, a plethora of experience across the board here to be able to talk about. So I'm going to start off by talking with Margaret Carey. Margaret, you are just a phenomenon. I mean, you started on the Little Rascals.
Yes.
I mean, that's, you know, amazing. But when it comes to voiceover, according to IMDb, and we can debunk this, but according to IMDb, in Peter Pan, you are credited for voicing over a mermaid, one of the mermaids in the Peter Pan movie.
I have her picture here. I was invited by Mark Davis, who originally cast me in the role of Tinkerbell, who doesn't talk in the movie, to be in one of the mermaids. And so I said, certainly. And I showed up and I acted out and I had lines and everything. And June, oh, what's her last name? Come on, tell me, June.
Foray.
Foray?
June Foray, thank you. Who became a very dear friend of mine, except when you're 92, you can't remember sometimes when you want to. Anyway, June Foray and Connie Hilton and I went on stage and we recorded the voiceovers. And I had the line, "We just wanted to drown her." And that's from it. And we finished doing that. This was before we did the actual physical live action work. We stood outside and looked at each other and said, why are we fussing to get work in front of the camera? This is the way to go. You don't have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. You don't have to learn lines. You would get there about 1 o'clock when your voice is pretty good. If they don't like it, they'll re-record it. No fuss, and then goodbye, and they send you a check. I mean, this is the way to go. And we did not say to each other, we're going to go this way, but we did. And of course, June Foray became world famous with her voices. I did over 600 cartoons for television. And then I was on radio with voiceover, etc. So that's how that all happened.
That is absolutely incredible. Margaret, I would be, you know, it would be a mistake to not talk to you about your work as Tinkerbell. How did that come about? How did you end up being cast as the model for Tinkerbell?
Well, as you said to begin with, that I was in the Little Rascals. So I started working when I was 4. I caused the Depression in 1929. Everything went right downhill from there. So my parents put me to work and tap dancing and acting and so on. So by the time that I got to be 18, I had an agent. The agent said, can you stop work over at Fox? I was working assistant dance director there. And I said, well, you know, she said, that's a little fairy, about 3.5 inches high. And I went, well, and then she said, it's a Disney. I said, I'll be there at 6 a.m. in the morning. I mean, I never felt so special in my life as when I drove up, and I worked at all the studios, but I drove up to Disney Studios, and the man with the clipboard had my name. I thought I'm in seventh heaven. So I interviewed for Jerry Geronimi and Mark Davis, the great Mark Davis, who designed Tinkerbell, and then did most of the animation for her to see whether I could do the part. And lo and behold, I did. I have a painting here next to me. Maybe you can see it. I don't want to know whether the light is bad on, but that's the scene where she lands on the mirror in the nursery room, and yes, she looks at herself. I played it as if she had never seen a mirror before. She was not preening. She was just surprised more than anything else. And they liked it. And it was either then or next week, they said, would it be convenient for you to come to work next Tuesday? And I said, I think so.
Wow, that is absolutely phenomenal. I love it so much. It was
great to work there. That's where I spent most of my time when I lived. I was 20 years a widow. And so I lived in Glendale. So I didn't get to the park. I got to Walt Disney World and I got to the studio. I had a wonderful time.
I love it. I love it so much. And where do you live now? You're still here in California, or did you move?
Well, do you want me to tell you why I moved?
Tell me the whole thing. I know I'm pretty sure I know, but you gotta tell us all.
Well, I dated a young man who was graduating from USC. He had been in the service over in Germany. We dated, not really hot and heavy, just I didn't know how to date way back then. And I had to go to work for ABC doing 172 shows for the Charlie Russell Show. And he went off to work for Exxon. He became an executive for Exxon, and well, you can see what I became. I mean, that was neat. But I started to work for Tinkerbell, doing the things just about the time that we separated. Well, I was 90 years old, about 2 years ago, and I knew I was leaving California. I had no idea where, how, what. And I get this email from Amsterdam saying, would you like to get back in contact with Robert Bokey, a man you knew 70 years ago? And I remembered him so well. I said, yes, I would. Well, what had happened was he was over there for the commemoration of the 75th anniversary, which I think we're doing pretty soon in June now, but for D-Day. And he was being honored, and he was walking down the street in Amsterdam, because that's where he was picking up the ship for the tour. And there was a store that said, Tinkerbell's Toys. And he turned to his friends with him. He said, did I ever tell you I dated Tinkerbell? And I said, no, tell us. And there was one lady said, let's find her. And they found Tinkerbell Talks at my website, and they sent off that email. I got a call from France. And when he got back home, we started talking back and forth. I was also on the Andy Griffith Show. So I did Mayberry Days up in Mount Airy every September. So he lived in the East Coast. And I said, you're in South Carolina. I'll be in North Carolina. Is there any way that we can get together? Can you drive up? Can you fly up? I don't know that area. He said, well, I have to have my 94th birthday first. I said, okay. And 3 weeks later, he drove up 8 hours and we saw each other, and it was love at second sighting. And we remembered so many things. And the next thing we knew, we said, oh, I got to tell you this one. I was cutting up because I didn't know what to do, and he didn't either. And he said, I'm going to buy you a house. You need a house. You need more people than where I'm at. And I said, well, fine. But he said, I have to be near a Costco's. He said, I shop at Costco's. And I said, wait, you have a Costco card? He said, yes. You'd let me use your Costco card? He said, yes. I said, will you marry me? And he said, well, we'll have to put that all together. So in February 14th, St. Valentine's Day, we were married in the Little Brown Church in Studio City. And 2 days later, we flew off to Sarasota, and that's where we're living. And I'm working harder than ever. Isn't that great?
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Wonderful.
Wow.
The best part. You haven't heard the best part. The best part. He's a great cook.
Oh, amazing. Amazing. That is, I love that story.
Inspiring.
So that's my story of how I got to Sarasota.
I love it. Margaret, you're incredible. You're incredible. I have more questions for you, but we'll come back. We're going to come back to Margaret Carey. Up next, we have to talk to another Little Rascal. Not really, but kind of a little bit. From Powerpuff Girls, Buttercup from Powerpuff Girls, of our dear friend E.G. Daly. E.G., you actually are also kind of a bit of a little rascal. I mean, is that
bit of a rascal? Just a bit of a rascal?
Would you mind telling everyone your involvement in that in the film?
In the Powerpuff Girls, yeah, I'm the voice of Buttercup, and yeah, I mean, what's there to say? We started doing the pilot. We did the pilot maybe 7 years before the series got picked up or so, somewhere around there. In a long time, we did the pilot, and then years and years later, they were like, "Remember that show you auditioned for? You're in it," and they're going to do the series. So you never know. Sometimes you do something, and then later it could kick in. So that show was awesome. We did so many episodes, and that was with Tara Strong, and is one of my besties, and Kathy Cavadini, who's amazing, and then yeah, it just.
But I mean, but we're burying the lead here. You worked on the Little Rascals movie.
I did work on the Little Rascals. Yes, I did work on the Little Rascals because I did the voice of Froggy in the Little Rascals. So when Froggy was like in the live action, there was a little boy, but he couldn't quite do the as froggy-ish as it needed to be because he's just a little kid, right? So he's like, ah. So they bring somebody like me in to go, "What's the high type, Petey?" And then
I love that. I love that story so much. Your work on Rugrats is absolutely legendary. It's killing right now. I know. I mean, Tommy Pickles, come on, talk to us about how that came to be, how you ended up in Rugrats.
Well, actually, I had never done any animation or any voiceover work in my whole career. I had just done on-camera movies. I did like Valley Girl and Pee-wee's Big Adventure and a lot of kind of culty movies. And then I decided to do a play because I was wanting to be singing. I'm a singer. That's like my main thing. And I was always doing bands when I was 14, 15, 16, but I was really missing singing. So I was like putting it out there that I wanted to be singing more. And some guy called, and a friend of mine, he was a producer, said, "Oh, we just got the sets." They shipped them out from Broadway. There was a play that Deborah Harry did on Broadway called Tansy. And they said, "We need somebody petite who's physically fit who can sing to star in this play." So I was like, "Do I get to sing?" And they're like, "Yeah." And I was like, "I'll do it." Like, that was it. Do I have to put the band together? No. I'm like, "I'll do it." Like, that's all it was. It's like at the time I didn't have money to put a band together. So I was like, if you do that, I'll do it. I didn't realize that I had to learn to be a female wrestler, like a champion wrestler. So I had to learn to wrestle, which I thought was going to really hurt me. But I learned. It was awesome. And then in that play, each round of the play was about a female wrestler. I was a different age. So I was a baby, a baby in the first round, then 5, and then 10, and then 16-year-old into an adult. And someone heard me at that play and said, "You're really good with these kids' voices." And I was like, I didn't think anything of it because I never grew up thinking like I'm going to be a famous cartoon when I grow up. I was an actress and a singer, but I did call him out of respect to him because I thought, well, that's nice. He pursued me for this strange thing. And then he sent me on my first audition for a boy cartoon, which I almost didn't go on because I was having my carpet replaced in my apartment that day and I didn't want to leave the workers there. And I was like, "I'll get you on the next one." And my agent, it was my first time going out for him. And he said, "No, it'd be great if you could go in on this one." I was like, "I'll get you on the next one." But he pushed me a little and I went and I booked it, and that was Tommy Pickles. So it's just,
oh my God.
Yeah. Tommy Pickles was good to me.
Absolutely incredible. How has it been kind of working with the same group? Is it the same group basically of actors that has been doing it the whole time?
Yeah, I mean, all the babies are all the same, which is so fun because we all grew up together. We
Yeah.
raised, some of us got married, some of us got pregnant. I was in labor during a Rugrats session. It's kind of a known thing. I was literally like, "Hold on, your diapers, oh please." I was like,
Oh my God.
You're like, "Izzy, you're contracting an awful lot during this session." I'm like, I know, but I went to the doctor yesterday. He said I was fine, go to work. And then I had a baby that night. So I was actually in full labor. It was crazy. Yeah.
Oh my, it's very fitting for that.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's, mama bear. I'll just like, and I nursed them all during sessions. I would like, especially if I was in a phone patch session, I'd have a baby on a boob, and then every once in a while they'd hear a little, and they'd be like, "What was that?" And I was like, "Nothing, nothing."
That's incredible. That's incredible. What's your relationship like with other, voiceover people? I know that you're very close with Tara. Like, do you have a strong relationship with the other women in the community, and how's that been for you?
I am really close. I mean, Tara's one of my great friends. I love her so much, and I'm with her a lot. I see her a lot. She's one of my friends I see a lot during COVID, and I've seen a lot. And I'm friends with Kathy and Cree, and obviously Nancy Cartwright. I had lunch with her the other day up at her house, and so I am friends with a lot of these girls, and it's beautiful because we all relate. We've all been doing it a long time. We all can relate to the fact that the business has changed so much, and we're having to do all our own editing, recording, and all that stuff, and everybody has different feelings about that. I personally have feelings about that. Like, when we started, you went into your agents and you auditioned and you left. You didn't edit. You got directed in your auditions, and it's a very different deal now. But it's nice to hang out with my friends who get what it was like back then and how much we've had to be willing to change and grow and learn how to work our booths and learn how to edit. And believe me, I fought it a little bit at first. I was like, I'm not doing it. No, but then I realized, you have to grow. You have to be willing to grow. And so I'm so proud of myself because I've learned how to record. But a lot of my friends are, a lot of my girlfriends are in the industry, and it's cool. And,
how do you avoid, feeling competitive with, within your business? Because I learned a couple years ago that, like, if you start feeling competitive with other actors, you'll never stop. So you just can't do that. Like,
like Debbie Derryberry is one of my best friends. She's one of my best friends, and probably my best friend. And, I mean, I have a handful, like my friend Romy and Debbie, and a handful of my girlfriends that are my best friends. And, we do always go up for the same parts, but our voices are so different that we often, Debbie and I often give each other auditions. Did you get that thing? Did you read for that thing? Because if I don't get it, she might be right for it. And if she's not right for it, then somebody else might be right for it. So I really have faith that, like, there's plenty to go around. And, I want my friends to book jobs. Like, I'm so happy when my friends book a great job. And I just know that, like, the universe has my back, and I get the jobs I'm supposed to. And sometimes I'm not supposed to get certain jobs, or sometimes I need to do other things. And, I sing. So when I'm not being as prolific with voice work, or it's slower, I don't sit around waiting. I just go do music. I write a song. I cut another video. I produced a bunch of videos and directed them during COVID. If you're hearing a little wheezing sound, it's this one.
Oh my God. Is that a dog? It looks like a dog. I'm not sure.
You're not seeing. There's no dog. Never mind.
Okay, yeah. It's hard to tell. It is adorable.
Yeah, she's pretty ridiculous. Anyway, so what I'm saying is, there's work for everyone, and I think the best way is to just wish everyone gets work and everyone thrives. And I really know that I get what I'm supposed to. I just have total faith in that. Like, there are times when it's really dry for me. There have been times where it was dry. I was like, what's happening? And then I stopped fighting that, and I realized, oh, I'm supposed to be doing this other thing right now. Like, I never let myself keep going down the same, it's like that book, Who Moved My Cheese, that same path where you keep thinking, why isn't this working? Why isn't this working? Why isn't this working? And you start acting like a cartoon character, like, ah! And then I stop myself and I'm like, okay, what am I not watch? Why do I keep taking the same actions and I'm not switching it up? So then I think, okay, I'm being too like forcing something to happen that's not right now. So then I just back myself out, I regroup, and I think, oh, that's why that's not happening. I'm supposed to be doing this thing over here. So I think the key is learning when to like stop pushing so hard and when to enjoy yourself more. And sometimes when to just have more fun.
Yeah.
Have more fun.
I love it. I love it. All right, we've got more for you, EG, but we'll come back to you. Up next, this actor has done a lot of incredible work in the live action world for TV and film, including Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Girls Will Be Girls, which is a phenomenal film, Rubber, which is one of the most insane things I've ever seen put to cinema, put to reel, and Reno 911. But his work as Xander Whifflebottom on Drawn Together is the stuff of legend. It's so offensive and wonderful and insane. Jack Plotnick, I love you, buddy. I'm so happy that you're here.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm on a never-ending quest to save my girlfriend. I was thrilled to get Drawn Together because it's not often that you're on a show that you're also just a huge fan of. And I was obsessed with the show while I was on it, and it was heaven. And it was sick as hell.
It's such a great show. Something I wanted to ask you about in particular is like doing a show that does a lot of, really crazy stuff and really was breaking a lot of rules, when it came to like animation and to language on television and also in subject matter and everything. How did that feel? How did you end up getting the role? And then what was the response like to being a part of it?
Well, it felt great to be on a show. I have a really sick sense of humor. And as you know, if you know Girls Be Girls, which was a film I produced and starred in, I mean, it's just, I love really dark humor. And so to be on a show that was my own sense of humor, I mean, I was cackling in the recording booth and we were all laughing so hard. And I would just do whatever they asked me to do because I love to go there and to be wrong. But I wasn't a voice actor per se, but the creators of the show had Matthew and Jordan, and not Jordan though, but Matthew and Dave. They had written on a pilot series I did one season of called Action. And so they knew me from that. So I sort of lucked out because they were looking for a voice for this gay character. And I went in having no idea what voice I would do because I didn't have a bunch of voiceover voices. And I was looking at the posters in the hallway and I was about to be called in and there were posters of video games and stuff like that. And so I thought, okay, so he's a video game warrior. And I had this teenage boy character I used to do in my comedy sketch shows who talked like this. And then I had, and I knew, okay, so it's a video game warrior and he's gay. So I had a high school girl character in my comedy sketch show and she was like, you guys, oh my God, like that. So I thought, literally right before I walked in the room, I went, well, I'll just kind of do both of them at the same time. And if you listen to Xander, that's who he is. He sort of jumps back and forth between, oh, like, yeah, dude, and oh my God. So he's like, I'm Xander and I'm on a never-ending quest to save my girlfriend. So he was just two characters I happen to have like that.
Did you get when it came to like script and to things like that, like was there improv involved in working on the show, or was it pretty?
No, the scripts were so well written. Those guys, I mean, that show is like, it's brilliantly written. So no, I mean, they would let me, and I really do enjoy that aspect of voiceover work versus acting, because I love to like say a line over and over until like something magical and surprising happens. Like to me, I really love that. And it's very hard to do that on set. You can in your close-ups sometimes, but anyway, so sometimes, you know, a line would start to sort of change a little in the performance, but generally I was so in love with their writing. Why would I do that, you know? So, but yeah, I got to work with your friend Tara, and I worship her. And it was an amazing cast of like serious voiceover stars. And I learned a lot from them, and I was honored to be in the same room with them.
That's so great. Since doing that, I know that you've done some other voice work. I know that on Space Station 76, you did the voice of the space station, right?
Well, that was a film that I co-wrote and directed, and I wanted to be somewhere in that thing. And I was thinking maybe the voice of the ship should be like, well, in my film, the voice of the ship announces everything. So like you enter a room, it goes, door opening. And it's like, for no reason, it's the future as we imagined it in the 1970s. So I did that. But you know what's interesting? The only other like really big voiceover job I had, I was the lead alien in the film Aliens in the Attic. And
really?
Originally, well, I'm not in the movie, but originally in the film, all the aliens talked an alien language, and it was really an interesting concept. And they wrote an entire new language. And I recorded the film. I learned a new language, which was like, I mean, it was completely made up, but it was written. And then they decided they didn't like that. So they fired everyone, but I got to stay as the cute little lead alien. We recorded the whole film again. And then time passed. And I guess what happened was they just decided, you know what, this isn't working. Let's have the aliens just be like, cowabunga, dude. And they recast my role with a Nickelodeon star. But it was a great experience.
Wow. One of the reasons I wanted to, bring you in on this too is, even though it's not voiceover work, what you are currently doing with Disney is one of, I'm telling you, Margaret, if you haven't seen this, we will forward it to you. You will fall over laughing. It is one of the funniest things in the world. Jack created this series of videos where he plays basically, I'm gonna try to get this right, Jack, all of the women in the wonderful world of Disney, like behind the scenes videos with Walt. And it's like Walt Disney walking around and being like, how's small world coming, Francis? And then Jack is in full wardrobe as the different women being like, we're trying our best, and it's going to be great. And then like falling in love with Walt, and it's the fun. Will you explain it, Jack?
Well, I'm such a Disney nerd. So Margaret, this is incredibly thrilling that I'm part of this group with you. But when COVID hit, I was making comedy videos. I make them for years now. I've been making them. But when the quarantine happened, I just went down this Disney wormhole just to just calm my nerves, right? And I saw this wonderful World of Color Disney episode, and I'd never seen it before, but basically he was using his show to advertise his new theme park, Disneyland, and he was interviewing Imagineers, and I, as a kid, wanted to be an Imagineer. To me, that just seemed like the best job you could have. And there happened to be an Imagineer, and his name is Blaine Gibson, who looked like me. And that's what gave me the idea. I thought, wait a minute, I could just literally be an Imagineer. I'll just stick myself, whenever Walt asks him a question, I'll just be him. And also I kind of poke fun at the rides. I poke fun at the sort of, blatant patriarchal, sort of uncomfortable system at work behind the scenes. I mean, I love Disney though, so it's all coming from a place of love. And I've done 5 of them, and it's just a joy. And I've had some lovely comments from people.
Oh, I missed the name. What did you title these?
Well, they're always called like Disney Made Us. So like my first one was called Disney Made Us Pirate Ride. I love that because it's like, well, no one knew the name of the ride yet. It's just a pirate ride. And in my last video, it turns out the reason they came up with the teacups is that Mary Blair, she's an actual Imagineer that I play in the video, that she's hungover, and she's had like 5 cups of coffee and she's feeling nauseous. And Blaine Gibson overhears that and he goes, teacups, nauseous, that's it. Anyway,
that's funny. I love that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. They're all on my YouTube channel, Jack Plotnick. If you just type that in Disney.
It's so brilliant. The stuff about Small World, where it's all like, they're making like the little Small World dolls, and then they're like, how many of these do we have to make? I don't know, 700.
These youngsters will appear in our show, It's a Small World. They are just a few of the 700 stars of the exhibit for the United States Committee for UNICEF.
Say, Marge, what is this anyway? What's this ride all about? Oh, you haven't heard? All the children of the world are going to be singing and dancing to this really cute song. You're on a boat and you're sailing down just the sweetest little river, watching all the children in the world singing that song. That new Sherman Brothers song. It's so catchy. But then what happens? And all of them singing it in their own language. Well, but then what happens? Does something happen? What happens? They sing it. They keep singing it. Yeah. Okay. They sing and dance to the song. And then everything goes wrong and they go down a water slide? No, slide. And then does a villain come and attack the children? No, nothing happens. Oh, every country that has kids in it sings that song. They sing the whole song in their own language, the whole thing from start to all the children, every single one of them, every single nation. Why would anyone want to hear that again and again? There is just I know it. One golden song. I know it. Oh, smile means friendship. Well, how many kids do we have to make? 300. 300 of these things? I have been working on this one for the last month and I haven't even gotten her costume done. Well, Carol, you wouldn't be so behind if you didn't take so many cigarette breaks.
Jessica DiCicco, I've got to say, your work as Flame Princess on Adventure Time is it's like one of my favorite TV shows and one of my favorite characters on a TV show. I know that you've done so much work, but I wanted to start out by just talking with you about Adventure Time and Pendleton Ward and getting over there and what that was like.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just auditioned for that one, but the cool part about that was that it was already on the air when I auditioned for Flame Princess. So I got to, I'd heard about it, but I didn't realize how it had struck such a chord with people. And I got to watch the show before I auditioned for it. And so I knew who I was talking to. Like my scenes were with Finn. So I got to hear his voice and I kind of used that for my audition and I got it. And that show changed my life. Like that was just such an incredible phenomenon to be a part of. It was amazing. It was, that was like the first time that I really understood how what we make, the shows we make affect people, because I actually got to meet people in person, like at these conventions. Like I discovered the world of conventions through this show. And that was just such an incredible, what a wild ride. It was like an incredible experience. Yeah.
Yeah, that is
amazing.
Really
cool.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I gotta talk to you also about Loud House. You've been involved in that show for a very long time. In all the different iterations of it, similar to EG and the length of Rugrats and stuff, coming back in and back out on it. What's it been like for you on Loud House? How'd that work out?
Yeah, it was interesting to hear EG talk about what was it? No, it was Powerpuff Girls. How it was like, she was waiting for like 7 years later she hears back. But for with Loud House, Nickelodeon likes to they have like a shorts programs where they make shorts and then, they test them and they kind of use them as pilots in a way. And I had done this short, The Loud House, like a million years ago. And, and then we find out that, it got picked up. They're making it a show. So yeah, I've been a part of it for so long. And my audition for that was like, so unlike any audition. There was like, there's 10 sisters. So, and they just kind of brought people in who they kind of knew who like could do girl voices. So when they're like, okay, what ages can you do? I'm like, well, I can pretty much do all ages. And I was like, okay. And so I did like 0, like baby 15 or whatnot. And then I ended up getting 2 of the characters in that show. And now I play Lucy Loud and Lynn Loud. And yeah, that show is like so big. I mean, there's spin-offs now. They're doing a movie on Netflix. They're doing a live action movie based on it, which I'm so excited about. And I'm a little bummed that they didn't have us do a cameo, like have all the just have all the voice actors be at a table in a pizza shop. That's it, you know? And then they like, you know, but we didn't, yeah, not happening. But anyway, yeah,
man.
so I've been a part of that show for a while, and it's been really cool to watch that just go through what it's, you know, turned into.
That's incredible. I know Puppy Dog Pals, you're pretty deep into that show. How many episodes do you think?
Yes. I mean, I didn't know Disney went above 3 seasons, but we're doing the 6th season now. And now it might, like, yeah, I don't know. It's cool. Like, I mean, I know Doc McStuffins went on for a while, but and I know like Nickelodeon shows go on for a while, but it's like a big thing, like if a show goes past 3 seasons at Disney. So it was cool. I don't know. I just hope I'm on a show one day that comes back, like, you know, a decade later, like like what's happening right now, you know?
Yeah.
So cool.
You know, sometimes those shows, Jessica, like Powerpuff Girls did that. Like we went out and then they came back and were like, we're gonna do a pilot for a new spin, you know, a new reboot of the Powerpuff Girls. So we were all excited and we did the pilot, and then all of a sudden they took the pilot, I guess, or all of a sudden there was a casting for our voices. And so sometimes it does come back in a new time period, but they didn't want to use the original voices in that particular instance, you know. So sometimes that happens. So it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome when they do, and sometimes they have to replace people because they're not available or they pass on or whatever thing happens. But it is pretty awesome when they come back. That's why Rugrats is so much. We haven't done it in over 14 years to come back. And they had to really check everybody's voices. You know, they had to see, like, is everybody?
Yeah.
So it's pretty awesome when that happens. It is pretty awesome.
Very cool. Like that's such a major thing. And I just want to say I grew up watching Rugrats. So, and I don't know if you remember this, but when I first moved out to LA, like a long time ago, one of my first animation jobs was on All Grown Up. And I remember like walking into the room and like it was all of you guys, and I was like, I couldn't believe it, because like that's my childhood, and I was like on this show and I was so intimidated, and like Charlie Adler was directing and you know, this was like my first experience, and
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was like very
ever I don't think anybody has that snob thing going on. I think voiceovers doesn't have the same thing that on camera maybe has. A little more.
Yeah, for sure. It's way chiller. Yeah, definitely.
That's neat.
It was, yeah. It was so cool to like meet everybody and they're cool and they're nice and they're, you know, down to earth.
Because we're all participating in this thing together. We're in the same room where, you know what I mean? We're all creating a thing together. It's
the best. I think voiceover people, like, you know, and just, I mean, especially this group, like you guys are all incredibly nice people who have been like very, you know, open with your time and energy and stuff. And like, I mean, I met Margaret at the Annie Awards after the award show, and when I got introduced to her, I was just like, "Can I talk to you for an hour, please?" Like, I was like, "I know that you have like things to do, but like, can I just like hear stories and just hear everything?" And I think Jack,
working in this field, the most wonderful people. Do any of you remember a fellow named Hal Smith, who did voices forever? And I did about 400 episodes opposite the microphone with Hal Smith. We became dear friends. And then he would introduce me to some other people. They would introduce me to other people. It's a family that do this. Now, I don't know, I never was on a show where it wasn't independent. We were an independent studio. So we were all our own little world that we did these things. But I'm listening to you with great fun. Oh, yes, I knew so-and-so. And yes, we worked there. And yet, but that's what the enjoyment of the whole business is, besides saying, I can do it. I could do it. They like what I did. Oh, I could do it again. It's very, very delightful business to work in as far as I'm concerned. And I think I hear the same thing with you all.
Oh, you bet. It's the best. I mean, I think I met Jack Plotnick at Jamba Juice, if I'm not mistaken, it was I'm pretty sure it was like Jamba Juicer, the grocery store, and I was just like, oh my god, Jack Plotnick, I'm such a huge fan. Like total, I'm a big nerd about all of you guys. And Jessica, we met at I believe at the cons, at one of the cons for the first time, and I was just like the coolest. You're the coolest. I know that you have done a lot of voice matching, and in voice, for when it comes to like video games and like doing characters that have been established. How do you go about something like that? Like how do you like learn someone else's stuff?
Are you talking to me or Eric Bauza?
Yeah, I'm talking to you, Jessica. Yeah.
It's more of an Eric Bauza question.
No, I know. I'm coming to Eric.
I'm just here to watch. I'm not actually participating. I'm just.
Oh no, Eric, you're next, babe. You're next.
No. I have stories. So, but. No,
good. I'm coming to you. But Jess, when it comes to like doing a character that had been already done, do you have any techniques or anything that you go for immediately?
I mean, I wouldn't say that's necessarily my main thing. Like there are definitely people who like do that a ton. Like that guy.
Yes.
But I mean, I think when I do that, like you really just have to capture the essence of the character. Like I think that comes first, and then you fine tune the actual voice, but it's really capturing the essence of the character. And it's so much fun to just like lose yourself in another character that you know so well. And I mean, I love doing that type of stuff. It's so much fun. And I love parts where you really have to focus on the nuance of it, because I find that such a nice challenge. That's definitely its own unique skill set to do those.
Totally. Absolutely.
Matches. Yeah.
I actually have a declaration here. It is, hang on, it's on my desk. This is from the Canadian government, and it says, Canada is most proud of one of its greatest heroes, one of the greatest Canadian. This is a real thing and not a pamphlet for my Zoom recorder. Canada is very, very proud of Eric Bauza, and it talks about him on a regular basis. The country in general just talks about Eric Bauza. You're
just bored. That's what it is.
You've made a lot of people very proud. I know recently you have become Bugs Bunny, and the world has rejoiced in many ways because you really are. I know that you've done Daffy, and you've done. When I met you, you were doing Marvin the Martian, and then you literally whispered it to me. You said, I'm gonna start doing Daffy, and I was like, oh, that is incredible! What an incredible thing! And then for this announcement, for you to be doing Bugs is just, it's extraordinary, man. How did this happen? Please walk us through the situation.
Well, I hope that when I whispered to you that I was going to be Daffy, I didn't spit all over your face.
Also, before I started voiceover, one of the last projects I worked on as an animator, as an artist, was the Drawn Together movie. So I had to draw a lot of Xander butt scenes, a lot of Foxy and Princess Clara was her name, right? Tara. I had to draw like a scene with her arms getting chopped off. It was awful. I was like, yeah. So like I kind of like learned from legends like E.G. and of course.
I worked with Eric on some. We worked a couple times, but I remember that show was about. I just like have footage from us behind the scenes. That's so hilarious. I post it all the time.
Right. That was the Moose Buck show. And it became something, and again another one of those Hollywood like success stories, like Jack, where you build something up and then they replace you with a Nickelodeon kid. But I have to thank Margaret for being an influence on all of my body work, all of my model work. Thank you, Margaret, for all of your.
Thank you, Margaret.
But yeah, with Bugs and those characters, just like Jessica was saying, it's like you capture the essence. And just hopefully what you hear and what you remember of these beloved characters you can relay to the people that are listening, the fans, because, you know, nowadays we've all been to these conventions now, and we're always being told the right answer from the crowd. It's like the fans know more about the show than the people that are actually working on it these days. They come to you with facts, and they don't think it. I just saw a note someone had left on something I just posted of Daffy on ESPN, because now they're advertising Space Jam. Oh, his colors look way better in Looney Tunes Back in Action. You know, like there's people have notes. So when you're saying, oh, I'm going to voice Bugs, it's like Mel Blanc will always be the original, you know, like June Foray will always be the original. You have to, you can't kind of like let your ego get in the way. I'm the seventh person to voice Bugs Bunny, and I know I won't be the last. But what you have to do in that position while you're there is just hope that whatever essence and whatever nuances and whatever things that you remember about sitting in front of the TV every Saturday morning with a bowl of cereal, like translates, your love for these characters translates to the character that you're trying to portray.
When you got cast, like when you found out that was going to be the, you know, what was happening in your life, that you're going to be taking over and doing Bugs, what walk us a little bit through that day. What happened? What did you do? How did you celebrate? How did it work out?
No, I was like sick to my stomach. I was like, man, what did I get myself into? I was like, why did I do this to myself? It's it's a lot of pressure. It's just a lot of pressure. I'm being a jokester, of course. I had of course I called my parents, I called my brother, just people that I knew, who knew what it meant to me to kind of like even come close to something like this. And again, it's not like they audition these characters all the time. I think the only time, and now we're living in these age of reimaginings and reboots and bringing back these characters, that they almost kind of pile on top of each other. Now, in a case where it's like Rugrats, it's like you have the entire cast, and something like Animaniacs, you have like Rob, Jess, and Tress. It's like, who are, you know, like with the Rugrats, it's like they were such a huge part of what that show was and how they all sounded and how they formed the characters, and they're still alive and well and still can do these voices. So I think it would have been a nightmare to recast something like Rugrats, you know, and it would have been like, forget it. If you were going to try to replace even one of the Animaniacs, it's like, ugh, the fans would just go after you. But something like Looney Tunes, where it's like, you know, the original guy, you know, he has passed on, and since then there have been multiple versions of the character, and now we're getting into this age of like storytellers, like just kind of like changing the direction and changing the character. That's where it was nerve-wracking for me, like, oh, you're gonna voice Bugs, but I'm like, well, specifically which Bugs, right? So you have to kind of think about, okay, now they want the 1940s version, not the 90s version, not the post Mel Blanc version, not like the 60s Mel Blanc. They want like the original, you know, version. So I had to really study up on that.
Wow.
Even after booking it, it's not like until it hits the air, you know, you can't say that you've booked it until they've played it a few times, because you can easily be replaced nowadays. It's not even like they you know, they care. But again, it's like, if it changes storyteller to storyteller, they might not know who the people were ahead of you involved with that, and they might have a different opinion on it. And as actors, you kind of just have to say, hey, whatever, you know, there will be a next one, or you have to show up and just do the job as best as you can. So, but again, yeah, with these classic characters, it's less about me and more about paying homage to someone like Mel Blanc, or if you're a lady, you know, Tara Strong took over for June Foray for Rocky and Bullwinkle for the thing, and Candy Milo's doing the same thing as Granny for Looney Tunes and Space Jam. So it's like, you just have to like,
it's pretty awesome. That was beautifully said, Eric. Nicely said.
Yeah, well done.
It's true, because like when Babe came around, like Chris Cavanaugh did Babe in the original Babe, and then there were some issues with I don't know the details, but negotiating, and then they went around and started trying to recast it. And when they came to me and they were like, "Would you audition for the Babe?" and I was like, "No," because Chris Cavanaugh was my friend. I worked with her on Rugrats, so I was like, "No, I don't feel good about it." but I still love to audition for this other role. There's some other little character on that, some little boy monkey, and I read for him, and then I booked it, and then they had already recast Chris, and then I was getting ready to record, and sitting on a beach a week before recording, I got a call from director George Miller on the beach saying, "E.G., I know that you said you wouldn't audition for Babe, but we've already recast because we had to move forward, and we've already recast it, but we keep hearing the voice tapes, and you sound like Babe." And I was like, oh. And at that point, I went ahead and said I would do it. And it really was an homage to Chris Kavanaugh because she's incredible, you know. But I also had to say, I'm not going to imitate Chris. I'm going to capture that essence, but I will not imitate Chris, you know, because you can't.
It is what it is, and that's our business. It's tough, but sometimes it happens, and sometimes like with you know, it's happened to me many times, like Ninja Turtles and stuff like that, where you're like, you're gonna be a Ninja Turtle, and then like a producer has an idea, and then they bring in someone else, and then you're like, but then they give you another character, like an original character, like Tiger Claw. Like that's something that, you know, it was an original character, not like the 23rd Raphael. It's like, wow, like they gave me a shot at something original. So I love doing the classic voice matches, but I also like coming up with stuff where it's like, oh man, like I the hope and dream, right, among voice actors and actresses is that you create that original character that all the schoolyard kids will imitate and run around with their friends and do, right? It's like,
totally,
that's what you want. That's the kind of longevity I think we're looking for. Who needs Botox when you have animation? That's the thing. It's like we'll stay young with our voices.
Hey, small little fun fact: Babe 2, Pig in the City. Roger Ebert said it was the best movie of the year. So
wow.
just little that is 100% true. Gave it four stars, and said it was
two thumbs up.
Did you play Babe again? Did you reprise it?
E.G., did you play Babe again?
Did I play Babe again in the? What do you say?
She did it. You did it in Babe 2, Pig in the City.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I thought you meant that they did a new Babe. Okay.
No, it was. They only did 2 Babes, but I did go on and do like 3 or 4 major feature films with George Miller. I did Babe. I went on to do Happy Feet 1 and Happy Feet 2 in Australia with like Elijah Wood and Robin Williams, and so cool. You know, I did that one job. I felt like I did the right thing, and I felt good about my integrity to the whole way it went down. And then in turn, you know, George Miller ended up using me on like major projects. So it was good. It was a good
move.
Yeah.
Planted the seed.
Awesome.
And by the way, Eric Bauza is a dancer. If anybody
oh man. Are you thinking of that Curious George premiere party?
Yeah.
I drove by the LA Zoo the other day.
We had a Curious George premiere party at the zoo, at the LA Zoo.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah, we had this whole area where they set up a whole dance thing, and Eric was the man at the disco. Yeah.
I told you, Margaret was a big influence on me as a dancer.
Yeah,
and, so thank you, Margaret.
I'm just sitting here thinking about something that I've always wanted to be able to do and was never able to do. And that was mimic other people's voices. I mean, to really be true and to say that was the person, I could come close. But it was, you're talking about, you want to become Eric, you want to come very, very close to the character that has been famous all of that time. And I was invited one time to the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library to give a talk to all of the volunteers. And I'm trying desperately now to think of the man's name who also did the Tower of Terror, who could do all of these, change his voice into other people.
Right.
I mean, you knew who it was. He came out and introduced me with Ronald Reagan's voice. You should have thought the crowd just hushed. And he apologized for it later. I'm saying,
superpower.
That's a gift that I can't imagine having. I mean, I can make up voices. I speak about 48 different voices and have about 21 different dialects. Somebody counted it one time. But, you know, those are voices that I make up. And when the other part of it is mimicking other people and being kind about it, of course.
Right.
But it's another part of the business that we don't think much about.
Yeah,
That's right, Margaret. Did he happen to talk about jelly beans at all when he was doing his Ronald Reagan impression? You almost look like Nancy Reagan. You know.
I think I talked about me.
Yes,
That's
that's very good.
And I thought, why waste it? So I talked all about me.
Fantastic, absolutely.
Oh my!
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Yes.